You are listening from Lee Swift Book.
Welcome to Lee Swift Book, a quiet space for reflection, where we journey together through the great reservoirs of human wisdom that help us build a fuller, more awakened life. Today, I want to introduce a groundbreaking work, not just a book, but a philosophical compass for the soul, almost Buddhist, loosely translated as right view. This work was penned by an extraordinary figure, Chuang Khansri Pute. He is not only a globally respected Tibetan Lama, but also an innovative filmmaker who uses the cinematic lens to share Buddhist philosophy in the most relatable way. His teachings have earned deep admiration from world-renowned stars such as Jet Li and Chen Kun, both of whom found in his insights the fundamental answers they had been searching for. Nearly 2,500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama walked away from wealth, status, and a life of silk and gold in pursuit of truth. The question is, what did the Buddha discover that allowed him to awaken? His revelation was so profound that even the brilliant scientific mind of Albert Einstein bowed in respect. Yet today, despite our remarkable technological achievements, why do we still find ourselves drowning in the same basic worries? Look at our present-day world. We struggle to maintain our footing amid tidal waves of technology and the rise of exceptional talents. We face climate change, contagious diseases, and a constant drumbeat of economic crises, all of which darken our view of the future. Spiritually, we are adrift. We lack a stable guiding compass, one sharp enough to show us what is true and what is simply superstition. We often confuse form with essence. Does wearing prayer beads, chanting sutras, eating vegetarian meals, or giving offerings automatically make someone a true Buddhist? Many people spend their entire lives doing these things and still remain tangled in stress, fear, and restlessness. Meanwhile, others who have never once encountered Buddhism or any religious ritual live with such compassion and clarity that their lives reflect the very heart of Buddhist wisdom. If you've ever felt confused by this contradiction, then this book will be the key that unlocks your understanding. This book isn't here to convince you to follow Shakyamuni Buddha or any religion at all. The author, and this video, simply wished to dissolve the fog of misunderstanding that surrounds Buddhism. With gentle humor and clear, insightful language, he guides you toward understanding the true essence of the Buddhist path. At its core, the book reveals right view, not as chanting or ceremony, but as the mind of wisdom, a way of seeing the world with clarity and logic. It does so through the four fundamental truths discovered by the Buddha. These truths aren't moral rules or religious rituals. They are practical insights born from deep wisdom. Whoever you are, as long as you are willing to listen and reflect, these teachings can offer the clarity that transforms thinking and reshapes destiny. If you've been carrying an inner restlessness that never seems to fade, this may be the doorway to awakening that you've been searching for. Together, let us explore what it truly means to be a real Buddhist, and how to live a meaningful, liberated life, beginning with the understanding of the four seals that define the authenticity of all phenomena, known as the four Dharma seals. As mentioned earlier, Buddhism is not defined by rituals, external forms, or superstitious beliefs. Its true essence lies in the Buddha's way of seeing the world, his insight into the nature of reality. From the very beginning, the Buddha conveyed four essential truths known as the four Dharma seals, Tu Fap An. The word seal here signifies a mark of authenticity, the criteria by which we determine whether something truly reflects the Buddha's teaching. These four truths are: all things are impermanent, Vo Tuang; all emotions are suffering, Ko; all phenomena are empty, Kong; Nirvana is peace, Niet Ban Tin Lang. What stands out is that the four Dharma seals contain no moral commandments, no rituals, and no religious prescriptions. They never speak of what is good or bad, right or wrong. They are simply truths, direct observations uncovered through wisdom. If someone can accept, trust, and truly understand these four truths, that person is a genuine Buddhist. Conversely, even if one performs every ritual, donates offerings, or wears all the symbols of Buddhism, but still fails to grasp the four Dharma seals from within, then one has yet to become a true follower of the Buddha. The greatest value of understanding these teachings is that they unlock wisdom. The author calls right view, Chun Kian, the mind of wisdom. Put simply, right view is the ability to perceive the world accurately and logically. Right view is the very first step of the Noble Eightfold Path, Bat Chan Jiao, the 8 practices that lead to nirvana and Buddhahood. When you deeply understand the profound logic and the seamless interconnectedness of the 4 Dharma seals, both your destiny and the way you navigate life will transform in powerful ways. And so, we begin with the first truth. All things are impermanent. To truly understand impermanence, we need to return to the story of the prince who later became the Buddha. Prince Siddhartha Gautama, heir to a prosperous kingdom, was prophesied at birth to renounce worldly life and become a spiritual seeker. Fearful of this destiny, the king built an illusion around him, a flawless world where suffering had no place. Everything unpleasant was kept far away so the prince would believe life was nothing but beauty and bliss. Yet even with wealth, comfort, and a loving family, the prince's heart was never completely at peace. And then, during 3 excursions outside the palace walls, he witnessed 3 revelations that shattered his innocence. First, he saw an old man, bent and trembling. Shocked, he asked why someone could become so frail and miserable, and learned that he himself, his father, and his son would all grow old. Second, he saw a sick man, groaning in pain and vomiting. The prince realized that not only would he age, but he too would fall ill. Finally, he saw a corpse, mourned by loved ones, its face stiff and haunting. And the truth became undeniable. He would die, his child would die, everyone would die. These encounters with birth, aging, sickness, and death plunged him into deep contemplation. He asked, "How can my loved ones avoid death? Is there a way to break free from this fundamental suffering?" To many modern people, the prince's questions might sound naive. Instead, we fill our days with far smaller concerns. Will I get promoted? When will I win the lottery? Where will my grave be someday? Yet the way we face life's real pressure, the pressure of mortality, is childlike. We distract ourselves the way a baby is soothed with a rattle. Our rattles are status, money, achievements. We shake them loudly enough to forget the truth for a moment. We run from the certainty of death, trying to build wealth and comfort as if they could shield us. But in the end, we only sink deeper into confusion and suffering. Siddhartha did not take that path. He renounced luxury and went in search of the answer. After years of ascetic practice and deep meditation beneath the Bodhi tree, he awakened. In that moment of enlightenment, he saw clearly that everything in this world, everything in the entire universe, is interconnected. Nothing exists independently. All things arise from conditions, and when those conditions shift, the things they create must also change. This recognition is what the Buddha called impermanence. Impermanence does not simply mean everyone dies eventually. More accurately, it means everything is in a state of constant transformation. All things are continuously forming, birth, and dissolving, death. Yet humans resist this natural law. We accept the positive side of impermanence. When we have a stomachache, we want it to disappear quickly. But we reject impermanence when it touches what we love. We want our youth to stay, our health to stay, our relationships to stay unchanged. We want life to freeze at good, better, best. This refusal to accept change is what creates suffering. You may wonder, but isn't hope a good thing? Consider the Greek myth of Pandora's box. When Pandora opened the box, all the horrors of the world escaped. Disease, sorrow, pain, leaving only hope behind. Most people believe hope remained to help humanity survive hardship. But through the lens of impermanence, we see a deeper message. If the box contains things that harm humans, then the last thing remaining, the thing that refused to leave, might well be the greatest source of harm. That is hope. As long as we cling to hope, the stubborn hope that things must stay the same, fear follows. Fear of death, fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. Buddhism does not tell you to stop striving. Instead, it invites you to work hard, to act with kindness and sincerity, but without resisting change, to accept the instability of this world, to understand that everything will shift, including your own life. Only by accepting this truth can you live with calm and clarity. The author emphasizes that impermanence is actually good news, because only when things can change, can pain transform. Only when things can change, can life improve. Only when things can change, can you grow. When you loosen your grip on expectations, you begin to live in harmony with the present moment. Combined with mindfulness, the art of fully inhabiting the now, you stop trying to control the future, and suffering loses its power over you. That is the first truth of the 4 Dharma seals. All things are impermanent. The second truth is this: all emotions are suffering. Why did the Buddha make such a bold claim, that emotions themselves are the root of suffering? The answer lies in the concept of the self, the I. We see our bodies, our thoughts, and our actions, and from these we construct an idea of a separate, solid me. We believe this I exists independently, but Siddhartha discovered that there is no such independent entity anywhere within or outside the body. The self we cling to is nothing more than an illusion. It is this attachment to an illusory self, treating it as the center of the universe, that creates ignorance. Ignorance is not stupidity or moral failure. It simply means not seeing clearly, misunderstanding reality, only grasping part of the truth. From this distorted perception arises a storm of emotions, and the suffering begins. Many people protest, but not all emotions are suffering. What about love, joy, creativity? To Siddhartha, anything unstable, unpredictable, or dependent on something outside of you is, by nature, suffering. Take love, for example. Love brings joy, yes, but it relies on an external object. And wherever there is dependence, there is vulnerability. Not being loved is suffering. Seeing love fade is suffering. Fearing its loss is also suffering. The more strongly someone clings to the self, the more intensely they experience emotion. If something bad happens to a stranger, we barely react. But if the same thing happens to me, it becomes the greatest tragedy. Questions arise. Why is this happening to me? Why did they leave me? Because we believe our I is the most important thing in the world. Second, to protect this self, humans constantly chase pleasure and happiness. But happiness is relative, changeable, and dependent on external conditions. It cannot be controlled. Every time we seek pleasure, we also invite its shadow, suffering. The pursuit of pleasure is like trying to fill a sieve with water. No matter how you scoop, you end up with nothing. Wealth, fame, status, even knowledge, all are temporary. And because they cannot be held forever, they carry the seed of suffering. This is why the Buddha said the root of suffering is emotion itself. Or in other words, all emotions are suffering. So what are we supposed to do? The Buddha pointed to a single solution: awareness, awakened perception. Awareness allows you to see clearly that the self you cling to does not exist. As this insight deepens, ignorance loosens its grip, and suffering begins to fade. Awareness teaches you to observe your emotions, trace their origin, and discover that all of them arise from misunderstanding. Every emotion begins with a false assumption. Awareness also helps you avoid the seductive joy of ignorance. What is this joy? It is the attitude: I don't care about philosophy. I'm happy, and that's enough. Making money is great. Eating well, dressing well, that's all I need. The author warns that the joy of ignorance is nothing more than overestimating the benefits you think you will gain, while underestimating the obstacles. When you selectively accept only pleasurable experiences, you avoid confronting birth, aging, sickness, and death, and you fight against impermanence. But after enlightenment, the Buddha was not gloomy. He was more joyful, profoundly joyful. The happiness he experienced was not the fleeting pleasure we chase. It was something far greater, Mahasukha, the bliss that arises from awakened awareness. This joy does not prevent you from enjoying life. In fact, when you understand impermanence, when you stop demanding permanence from a world that constantly changes, life becomes fuller, richer, more meaningful. That is why awakened beings often carry a gentle humor, a soft smile. They live in the happiness of clear awareness, the joy of seeing things as they truly are. The third truth is the most subtle and profound of all. All things are empty. Siddhartha, upon awakening, understood the emptiness, Tan Kong, at the heart of existence. He saw that everything we see, hear, feel, think, and know is fundamentally characterized by this emptiness. But what is emptiness? Everything arises from a network of causes and conditions. When the right causes meet the right conditions, something comes into being. When those conditions dissolve, that thing disappears. Emptiness means that nothing possesses an independent, permanent essence. It does not mean things are non-existent. For example, the chair you're sitting on is empty. Not empty in the sense of not real, but empty of a fixed nature. Its existence depends on many conditions: wood, tools, the carpenter, the people who need chairs. If any of these causes disappear, the chair no longer exists in the same way. Yet humans insist that things are solid and real because we perceive the world through layers of personal and collective habits. We label everything, and then cling to our labels as if they are eternal truths. So if all things are empty, then what is this life? The Buddha described our lived experience as a dream, vivid, convincing, but ultimately insubstantial. Because we stubbornly cling to this dream as if it were absolute reality, we remain trapped in cycles of suffering. It is like being wrapped inside a cocoon woven from our own attachments. But the moment we recognize that everything is imagined, constructed, conditioned, temporary, we begin to free ourselves. Have you ever heard elders say, "Life feels like a dream"? They once clung fiercely, suffered deeply, but looking back now, everything seems weightless. That moment of recognition, when the world feels like a fading dream, is a glimpse of emptiness. But why wait until old age to understand this? If you cultivate awareness now, you can step out of this endless storyline. You no longer cling to relationships, career expectations, income, or even your children's futures with desperate attachment. As you gradually understand emptiness and dissolve the illusion, you begin to see through the anxieties and fears that govern society. You don't become cold, you become compassionate, because clarity gives birth to empathy. At this point, we must talk about karma. People often misunderstand karma as a moral scoreboard. Good karma, bad karma. But karma is simply the law of cause and effect, nothing more. It is not inherently moral. The Buddha never imposed a fixed standard of good or bad. Any action that pulls you further away from understanding impermanence, any attempt to fight it, leads to negative outcomes. This is what we call negative karma. Any action that brings you closer to the realization that all emotions are suffering, any act that weakens the ego's grip, creates positive outcomes, or positive karma. Upon realizing emptiness, Siddhartha no longer assigned value judgments to objects. He made no distinction between the grass mat beneath the Bodhi tree and the silk cushions in the palace. The value of silk exists only because human desire inflates it. Once you understand emptiness, the key is not to let yourself become dependent on comfort, familiarity, or the seductive logic of habit. If you can rise above conventional thinking and refuse to be trapped by the inertia of the world, emptiness becomes something simple, even humorous. And in that clarity, life suddenly becomes astonishingly light. The final truth is nirvana, the peace beyond all disturbance, the most difficult truth to grasp. It can only be understood when the first three truths have already awakened something inside you. Most people believe the ultimate goal of spiritual practice is a heavenly realm reached after death, a kind of perfect paradise called nirvana, a state of absolute happiness. But for Siddhartha, happiness was never the goal. The path does not lead toward happiness. It leads toward freedom. Freedom from suffering. Freedom from illusion. Freedom from the dream we mistake for reality. Therefore, nirvana is not happiness, nor is it the absence of happiness. It exists beyond all dualities, beyond the mental habit that divides everything into opposites. Nirvana is stillness. Nirvana is clarity. Nirvana is the weightless ease of letting go. Buddhist teachers often use a simple metaphor. Nirvana is waking up from the dream. Samsara is continuing to dream. Siddhartha emphasized this truth again and again. If you long to escape samsara, but in this life or any future life continue to chase pleasure and comfort, your efforts will be in vain. Awakening is not about finding happiness. It is about waking up from the illusion that happiness can be grasped and held. The final resting place, whether you call it heaven or nirvana, is not a physical location. It is the liberation from ignorance, the dissolving of confusion. If someone insisted on asking, "Where is nirvana?" the truest answer is this: perhaps it is exactly where you are sitting right now. For Siddhartha, it was under the Bodhi tree, not because the place was sacred, but because he awakened there. Freedom, the nirvana that transcends all boundaries, is a state unconfined by time or space. It can be realized in this very life, through your own courage, wisdom, and perseverance. And every living being carries this potential within them. This is the final seal of truth, the quiet, boundless peace of nirvana. Here ends the entire teaching of the four Dharma seals, the core of the Buddha's wisdom. We often believe the wisdom and compassion of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are too lofty for ordinary people to reach. Because of that, we focus only on doing good deeds, yet overlook what the Buddhas truly wanted to teach us: awakening. Awakening to the real nature of truth. You may burn countless sticks of incense, offer endless flowers and lamps, but none of these compare to the simple act of practicing the four Dharma seals in daily life. A person who is truly aware, truly awake, is no longer selfish, greedy, or calculating. They no longer behave like two children fighting over toys, nor like the greedy man trying to fetch water with a bamboo basket. Instead of sinking deeper into habitual patterns that generate ignorance, and from ignorance, greed, anger, delusion, and suffering, we learn to understand the Buddha's perspective and bring it into the way we live. One day, when you naturally wake up to the truths the Buddha taught, your compassion and wisdom will shine on their own, without force, without pretense. This book opens a doorway for ordinary people, guiding us to look at our lives from a different angle, a clearer, freer one. Of course, we do not encourage anyone to join any particular religion. We simply present the Buddha's philosophy so your understanding of life can deepen. Whether you choose to accept it, trust it, practice it, or walk the path of awakening, that is entirely up to you. There is one more truth we must face. Throughout our lives, we've worked so hard to become someone, to please others, yet we've rarely learned how to communicate with our own hearts. Even if you retreat into the deepest mountains, there is one person you can never escape: yourself. Only those who are willing to understand themselves honestly, look directly at their own minds, and use the strength of awareness to grow. Only they can find the path of inner evolution. And in the end, there is a line in the book worth sitting with. Ultimately, we must even abandon the path to enlightenment. If you still insist on defining yourself as a Buddhist, then enlightenment is still far away. Do not use labels, rituals, or spiritual identities to hide your fears or cling to expectations. Begin from within. Open the eye of right view, the awareness that sees clearly. Because the truth is, we have always been Buddhas from the very beginning. Thank you for listening. If this video brought you value, please share it with someone who may need it. Feel free to leave your reflections in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. It is the simplest and most heartfelt way to support our work.